Hello. Just a quick one from me today. I haven't got much to say. I just wanted to talk a little bit about FBref. For anybody that doesn't know, they've stopped publishing their XG advanced data now. And then I might just talk about my plans at the end as well for next game week. But the main thing I want to talk about is FBref because, yeah, so they've stopped publishing their XG data, all the advanced underlying data. I'm not sure why. I mean, their data provider said that is not letting them do it anymore for some reason, so it's not really their fault. Not sure the reason. I've heard some people say it might be to do with gambling companies. Other people have said it's because there's some AI models that are just scraping the crap out of the site or something like that. I don't know. But they're not doing it anymore. And it was quite big news for me. Some people maybe don't know about this site or even use it much, but for me, I use it like all the time. And for the last few years, it's been a real close companion to me, really, almost, if that's not too much to say, because it's just, I always refer to it, and all of my models are built out of the data. I always felt very, very grateful for using this data because there's so much of it, and I always felt like I probably should be paying for it or something. There's so much of it. I'm getting such good use out of it. So yeah, I just wanted to say a big thank you to FBref for all these years of like providing that data, and it is a shame. It's a big shame that they're not doing it anymore because it's like I always went to this website. I presume there'll be other sites, other places to go. And as for my own model, I've kind of realised it might be a bit of a blessing in disguise because I never used that much of FBref's data. I only really used the XG, XA for the players, most of and the DEFCON stuff. But most of that, actually, the FPL API. The FPL website, they give all that data now, XG data and DEFCON data. So I might be able to streamline my model now and just make sure everything refers to just this one sheet, this FPL API. I don't actually necessarily need the FBref that much anyway. It's going to take a bit of work though. I'm going to have to update all my links and stuff like this. So that's a bit of a pain. They still use playing time. They've got a few of the stats here. Playing time, I'll still use that. I think that's good. But so everything else, I'm gonna have to update my model, go through all the links, and link it all to the FPL API, which is a little bit of work. I always trusted FBref. I think other places use slightly different XG data. I think FPL use Opta, but I'm gonna have to work out exactly. I don't know. I guess it'll be the gist. As long as it's the gist, I'll use it. But it might be slightly different. One tricky thing is actually that it's the squad data rather than the player data. FPL has got all the player data, but they don't have squad data like this used to have all the XG for each team. I think I will use Understat. They've got the same one here, so I can just download this instead. But I believe they use a different model, a different XG model. And I found a couple of other websites like this one's got Arsenal at 44 XG for the season. This one's got them at 43 point something, and this one's got them at 42 point something. So it's like there's all these different models. So I'm gonna have to look into like which one's the best one to use because I always used to trust FBref. But I don't know, as long as it's a ballpark. Yeah. So I've got some tinkering to do with my model and I've got to try and figure it out. Hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, for now my data just goes up to Game Week 21. I've got no data beyond that, so I'm gonna have to have a little. I'll have to have a little play with that. Yeah. So yeah, sad to see that go. I used to just always refer to this all the time. Every player, just check them on FBref. It was so like one of my most visited websites probably, and probably won't be now. I'm gonna have to find some other places. SofaScore maybe, FotMob. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, thank you FBref for your service. We'll see what the future holds. So that was all of that. Yeah, and then so yeah, next game week anyway. I've got 2 free transfers, 0.5 mil in the bank. I mean, it sounds like everybody wants to do Foden to Bruno. I've also got O'Reilly, and I've had it in my mind to do O'Reilly to Senesi for a long time. So that's kind of booked in, but I've only got 0.2 wiggle room on that. 0.2 wiggle room. O'Reilly is scheduled to go down. Where's my team? Get rid of that. O'Reilly's scheduled to go down tomorrow, so that's point 1. I'll lose. But it looks like Foden maybe might escape until, yes, over 2 days. That might be Saturday, the deadline, when the 24 deadline opens up. He might survive until then, and so might Bruno. I think Bruno's on like 2 days. So if you can survive, I guess, tonight and tomorrow, if they mean Saturday, or even one more point 1, I might survive anyway. I might be able to leave it and do it on Saturday, do it on the 24 deadline. I've got one little cash cow. I've got, in game week 24, I'll have a third transfer, and I could do Richards to Alderete as somebody I'm thinking of, which will get me an extra 0.3. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room there. There's also Saka to Rice I could do. There might be some other little cash cows that might emerge. But at the moment, I'm thinking I'm going to wait until game week 24. Because I've got that cash cow of like Richards to Alderete, I could potentially wait right up until the end of game week. Well, where are we? My mind's getting confused. So we're heading into 23. Then you want them for 24. So I could wait right up until the final, before the game week 24 kicks off. Game week 24 deadline, yeah. So I could wait and see if there's injuries and things like that. I could do that, or I could chase the price changes. Which I know now at this point in the season, most people say price changes don't matter, and I agree they don't matter as much. They matter half as much at this point of the season, halfway through. But I'm still inclined to think that it matters a little, though, especially with bench boost coming up on wildcard. And I still tend to think people overestimate the risk of going early. I think it's one of those things like the Gandhi thing. Never back the early kickoff. It's like whenever you back the early kickoff and it goes wrong, everybody whips out the Gandhi meme and says, "Oh, you shouldn't do it." But whenever it goes right, there's not a peep, nobody says anything. And I think people just forget the times when you go early on a transfer and nothing happens and it's all fine, nobody says anything. You forget it. But on those few times, once every month or something, when somebody goes early and there's an injury, everybody says, "Oh, you idiot, you shouldn't have gone early." So I tend to think it's over-egged, the risk of it. So I might go early. But we will see. I think it really depends on whether I want to keep Richards and how much I want to get Alderete. Because Richards, I was thinking of keeping him, but I'm probably going to have to get rid of him in 31. Because he's probably going to blank in 31. Because Man City are like pretty likely. I don't know if that's updated odds yet, but Man City are pretty likely to blank in 31. 2-0 up in their, or 2 goals up in their first leg, or against Chelsea, not Chelsea, Newcastle. Next leg at home. So yeah, they're probably likely to blank in 31. So I could risk that. I mean, obviously, if that backfires and Newcastle beat Man City, I'll have Alderete on my team, which could kind of like be a double pain in the bum. But I think I'm willing to take that risk. But Richards, I guess if I wait this weekend and just see how Crystal Palace get on against Chelsea as well, one more week's data, if they get absolutely wrecked, maybe that'll push me over the edge a bit more. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Foden to Bruno, O'Reilly to Senesi, maybe Richards to Alderete if I need the money. Yeah, something like that. Senesi, I mean, some people were thinking about going for Chalobah and all these other people. Let me go back to, let's go up to game week 30 here. This is just using data up to 21. I haven't got last game week's data. But basically, Senesi was quite high. That hasn't done it. Hang on. Senesi's quite high for defenders. So in terms of defenders, you got like Gabriel, Timber, Chow, Gay, but you don't know what kind of Gay you're going to get for Man City, but he's up there. Then Senesi, because his DEFCON rate is so high, and his XGI was actually 0.3 in the last 6, so he's got a good goal threat as well. Nathan Collins is up there. Tarkowski, Keane's not an option anymore really. Lacroix, avoid him. Loads of defenders, and then basically Chalobah's right down here. He only gets DEFCONs about 30% of the games, or that's my projection of him. Doesn't get much attacking threat. Does seem to be nailed, but Chelsea's defence is not that great. The fixtures are good, but maybe not that good. Like all Premier League games are kind of hard nowadays, so it's that kind of logic, I think. So I think I'm just going to avoid Chalobah. Plus, any Chelsea players you bring in, you're probably going to have to transfer them out again in 28 when they got Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, Everton's were that's up to 31, isn't it? Yeah. So Arsenal, Aston Villa, Newcastle, you might want to transfer them out then as well. If so, you kind of got to add an extra 4 points onto whatever or take 4 points away if you're thinking of going for an Enzo or something like that as well. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to go for a Chalobah. I think it's Senesi's the one I'm thinking. But double Bournemouth defence feels a bit suicidal, doesn't it? But I don't know. That's what I'm going for. Yeah. And again, the only question I'm wondering is things like I've got my fringe picks. Richards last on the bench, but then out of Ampadu, Krupi, Anderson, Rodgers, and maybe Chow. If we assume Foden and O'Reilly are starting, it's like, what's the priority order out of all these players? I think I like Chow, but then if I like Chow, I probably shouldn't be playing Rodgers. And my model actually has Rodgers really low for game week 23. Well, not really low, but the lowest. Let's have a look. Has that done it? Rodgers is down here, 3.78. Krupi, if he starts, is actually 3.98. I've got him at 90% start rate, but he'll probably start, I think, with Tavernier out as well. So he's probably better than Rodgers, 3.78. And then you've got Ampadu up here on 4.02 and Anderson here on 4.18. And I think it's just because their DEFCON rate is pretty good. Probably a pretty good chance of DEFCON. Little chance of an attacking return. Relatively easy fixtures-ish. Whereas Rodgers, no DEFCON. You're just reliant on his attacking returns. And Newcastle are kind of good. Newcastle have had a good defence all season, really. So it's that kind of logic. Krupi's got Liverpool. And again, Liverpool are not that amazing. And Krupi's had a whole week off. Liverpool just played in Europe. And with Aston Villa as well against Newcastle, Villa have they're going to play away in, I think it's Fenerbahce on Thursday night. They're playing away on Thursday night, whereas Newcastle played at home on the Wednesday, and they got a win as well. So just that feeling of like they might be a bit stodgy. So that's why I was thinking I might bench Rodgers, but that feels a bit silly. Yeah. So, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Krupi's becoming very handy to have. Bournemouth have just signed a player called Ryan, haven't they? Ryan. I think I saw that he's either plays up front or an attacking midfielder, but I saw a heat map of his and it looked like he played more on the right. So that could be handy. If Krupi's on the left, Evan Nilsson up front, Ryan on the right if he does start challenging. Or maybe Krupi in the 10. Does Krupi play in the 10? Not sure, but hopefully it should be alright for Krupi. We'll see. Yeah, so, and then Foden, O'Reilly, it's a matter of whether we think they're going to start or not. I thought Foden would start. His hand, so he's played in the Champions League, so he can play. He's played 70 minutes, but they've got a lot of players that can play in his position. I think, though, he started like every game, isn't he? So it's like, why wouldn't he start the next one? Has he missed a game yet? Let's have a look. So yeah, he started every single game since game week 4. So I think, although he only had 45 minutes there, but that was because of his hand, wasn't it? So I think you just play him. I think I'm playing Foden. I'm going to start him, I'm pretty sure. And then O'Reilly, though, he's a bit more of a headache. There was something that Luke from, he's the Man City guy, he's good at predicting Man City, on Twitter, he posted something about O'Reilly. And he said it might have been more to do with the fact that Nunes was out. Because if Nunes is out, then they have to play Rico Lewis on the right back. And then, which means he inverts more, comes into midfield. Which means they would prefer to have 3 at the back. I think that was his logic, something like that. So Ake comes in with 2 centre-backs and they play kind of 3 at the back. So that might have been why O'Reilly didn't play. Or is it, if Nunes is back, then maybe he's more he'll fall back a bit more, and O'Reilly will be the one that attacks and inverts and stuff, something like that. But I don't know. It's all a bit foggy. They got Nori, I think, played right back or something. In one of the games, Champions League, I think. So he's a bit of a risk. I will figure it out closer to the time. Listen to press conferences, see if Nunes is back for sure. And I might risk it. At the moment, I think I'm going to risk it, but I just need a little bit more data on him. But I've got, decent Ampadu and Rodgers to come on if needs be. I don't really want to go to Senesi against Liverpool yet. I mean, I suppose I could. Don't think I want to bring that forward. Don't know. That's the team anyway. Yep. I will leave it there though. Yep, I've got to get cracking on my models, try and get this sorted before next game week starts. So, okie dokie, I'll leave it there. Right, see you later. Bye bye.